everybody, welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to make Nalysnyky. This is our Ukrainian cheese, and we're going to do cherry as well, crepes. I have had to wait 4 weeks to get some cherries, but finally I found them with a street fruit vendor who had fresh cherries. So wonderful. Now, I was getting impatient, so I also did buy some dried cherries. Now these are dried Bing cherries from Trader Joe's. These are dried Montmorency cherries from Aldi, and I even got Bon Mama cherry preserves in case we had to resort to that. So now what I will do though instead with these is I'm going to make a glaze or a sauce to go over it with this. And we have our ingredients for the crepes part of the recipe. We're going to be using 4 eggs, whole milk, water, melted butter, all-purpose flour, salt, and I'm going to add some sugar. I forgot to put that down. So we're going to make the crepe part of the recipe, and then we'll have our cheese filling, which is going to be our cottage cheese. And then we're going to have our cherry filling. So we're going to have the cherries. We're going to cut these up, and then we're going to saute them with a little bit of butter, sugar, and water, and a little cornstarch as a thickener to make sort of like a cherry filling, sort of like a cherry pie filling. And we're going to roll up our crepes and then put in the cheese and cherries and bake them in the oven, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I wanted to make this recipe in honor of the wonderful, fantastic food of the Ukraine. Now, this is a Ukrainian ornament that I got at the Ukrainian Museum, which is nearby on 6th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues. We're close, our school is close, and right now, unfortunately, the Russians have invaded the Ukraine and there is a war going on. We want to make this in honor of those who are struggling and bring peace, hopefully, to Europe and everyone. Let's support the Ukraine, and hopefully this can be resolved, this conflict can be resolved peacefully soon. We have our mise en place ready, so we are going to start off with our liquid ingredients, and this is a very thin batter. Crepes are very thin pancakes, and so we're going to start off with our 4 eggs, and we're just going to break them up. So using your whisk, just break those up, and then we're going to add our 1 cup of milk, and I'm just going to reserve that ½ cup of water at the end to see if I really need it. So I'll reserve the ½ cup of water. So we want to mix this all up first. To our flour, I'm going to add our 1/4 teaspoon of salt, our 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I'm going to stir that around, get that mixed in all the way. The beeping was our 2 tablespoons of melted butter. That was the microwave beeping. I just melted them. We need 2 tablespoons. And whisk that in. And then we're going to add, not all of it at once, we're going to add a little bit, let's say we'll do thirds. We'll do 1/3, whisk it in. I'm going to add the next third. And now, when you're at home, you might just use the whisk, and that's perfectly fine. But if you notice that your batter is a bit lumpy, unlike pancake batter, which you do want the lumps, a lot of times your pancake waffle batter, you want lumps in it. You don't want to whisk it till it's super fine and smooth. If you find that your crepe batter is lumpy and you want to get it thin, you can take an immersion blender and use that, and that'll help speed up the process. Or you could even make this in the blender. So this is pretty smooth, but not smooth enough. So I am going to add not a ½ cup, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water to this. So you can see how loose this is. It's very loose batter. And I am going to use the immersion blender. Now I don't have a small crepe pan, but I do have, this is my smallest frying pan. I'm also going to do some on the griddle. So we get our frying pan and the griddle hot. And how do you test? See how it's sizzling? See the sizzling? Now we know that they're hot enough and we can use them. Before we pour in the batter, make sure you spray with nonstick spray, okay? And I've already put our batter into a measuring cup to help Okay, so we want to pour in a small amount and then use the pan to spread it out. This is a thin pancake. So make sure you keep spreading it. Like so. And then we'll let that cook. Now you're looking for a very, very light golden brown color coming on the edge of your crepe. You don't want these overdone. It makes them hard to roll. So you see that light golden brown? Obviously don't touch it. Use a spatula. And then you can flip it over. Oh, I used to be able to do it. I don't know if I can do this holding it one hand. So, you know, just take your crepe and flip it over. Now this is a fairly large crepe and I have a lot of students, so I'm going to make smaller ones on the grill. And when we're done, you want to just check. See the nice golden brown color? Again, please use a spatula when checking. I've been doing this a long time, so I don't mind putting my hand in there. And then just put it out on a plate. I like to have like a paper towel underneath to absorb any moisture from condensation. And for the grill, we're going to spray it with nonstick spray. And I have this handy little sort of ladle spoon, and I'm going to use this so I can portion them. And I'm going to do, and since we can't move this around, I'm going to use the bottom of the spoon to help spread the batter. Okay, and I'm going to make 3 of these on here. So while we have our crepes cooking, we're also going to start getting our filling ready. So we want to remove the pit of the cherry, and we're going to cut them in half, so that way you can remove the pit. And we also then want to cut these into smaller pieces so we can make our filling. I've pitted all of those, and now once you cut it in half, you're going to cut each half into thirds. All right, that's the size we want. All right, we're now going to start making our cherry filling. So I have our pitted and sliced cherries, a half a cup of water, and 1.5 ounces of white sugar. So we're going to put this into our heated pan. We want the sugars to heat up, and we're going to add in our cherries and give this a nice good stir. Once you notice that the cherries are getting glazed from the sugars melting, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of the half cup, half of this amount, and we're going to let this simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to thicken it with our cornstarch. Our cherries have been cooking for about 7 minutes now, and the water is evaporating. So what we want to do now is add in a little bit more water, and we're going to make a slurry with our cornstarch. This is 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, and that's the 1/4 cup of water we have left over. And you make a slurry by stirring the cornstarch into that water. And once it's dissolved, you're going to pour it back into our cooking fruit, and we're going to stir this, and you've got to stir it for at least 1 minute while it's cooking, and you'll see that all those liquids, all the juices become really nice and thick. And this is similar to how you make a pie filling. So if you're making a cherry pie, you're doing a similar thing. But you do want to cook it for at least 1 minute to get rid of any of that cornstarch taste. Here is our finished cherry filling, and that's going to cool. While it's cooling, we're going to make our cheese filling. So we need 2 cups of cottage cheese, which is this container, 1 egg, and we're going to add some cream at the end. But first, I want to get this in the bowl, and you want to make it small. And somebody recommended using the pastry blender to cut up the curds. Now this, I did buy small curd cheese, cottage cheese. So it should be fine, but we do want to make it a little bit smoother. So let's get this in the bowl and we'll start mixing it together. So let's check this out, see what happens. Here we are, we're ready to start our crepes, and our cheese filling is now done. Here's our cherries. We have our 9x13 pan, and we're gonna spray it with some non-stick cooking spray, just to make sure everything can come out easily. And here is one of our crepes. So we wanna put about a tablespoon size dollop. We're gonna spread it out a little bit. Well, this is a big one, so we're probably gonna do double that. And then we wanna put some of our filling, probably a teaspoon of our cherry filling right in the center. And then we're gonna wrap it up like a little pocket or a mini burrito. So we're gonna fold it over this side, fold it over this side, fold it over. And voila, we have our nice little pocket here. And we're gonna put it into our baking dish. We're gonna continue making all of these and the small ones, put them in here, and then we're gonna brush it with butter and add cream and bake it. Here we have all of our crepes filled with our cherry and cheese filling, and now I have a half a cup of butter melted, and we're gonna brush all of these crepes with butter. Here we have all of our butter brushed over our crepes, and you know, this is a rich dessert, so just once in a while have this. And this is our 1 cup of heavy cream, and we're gonna spread that over.
Like this.
This is so exciting, the moment of truth. It was in there for 30 minutes at 325. Whoa, look at that gorgeous. Wow, Nalysnyky with cherry and cheese filling. Look at all that butter and cream. I cannot wait to taste it. And we had some of our filling left over, so I'm gonna use that as our garnish on the top and save our leftover cherries that I got previously for some other projects. So luckily I have enough of this left over that I can use that as our garnish on the top. Let me get a plate and plate this. This looks absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to try one. Here is our beautiful plating, and we've got the cherry sauce on the top. I cannot wait to try it. I'm gonna cut this in half and give it a bite. That was amazing. I cannot believe how delicious it is. What a treat to try these out. These are our Ukrainian crepes stuffed with cheese and cherries, and they are absolutely delicious. So I recommend trying this at home. Lots to serve, so you could do this for a party even. And we had for the crepes 4 large eggs, 1 cup of whole milk, a half a cup of water, which I actually ended up only using a 1/4 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 cup of all-purpose flour or 4.5 ounces, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar. For our cottage cheese filling, it was 2 cups of cottage cheese, small curd, 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of heavy cream or whipping cream. And for the cherry filling, it was 12 ounces of cherries with the pits and 1.5 ounces of sugar, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, a half a cup of water, and then over the top of everything, we added 1/3 cup of melted butter and 1 cup of heavy cream. We baked it at 325 for 30 minutes and served it up, and it's absolutely wonderful. So please, let's all pray for peace in the Ukraine, and hopefully everything can be resolved soon. Take care, everybody. Make sure you cook and bake at home for your loved ones. For more recipe demonstrations, please click like and subscribe to Chef Victoria Loves YouTube channel and have fun in the kitchen. Thank you.